All right, have you ever been overwhelmed with having to learn songs? Maybe it's for your church, maybe it's for a gig that you have coming up, and you got a lot going on, and you haven't really mastered the art of learning a bunch of songs fast. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you some tips on things you can do right now to start learning songs faster so you can take your time to actually perfect what you really want to perfect and not spending hours and up on hours just learning songs. So let's jump right into it. There are a few things I want to share with you guys today. All right, so the biggest thing I want to say, tip number one, if you have time, if you have the opportunity, live with it. Live with what? Live with the music, live with the song. Let's say you have a gig or church service. Let's make it simple. You have a church service. Typically, you're looking at 3 to 5 songs. All right. So most musicians or church musicians, it's on a weekly basis. So that means you're learning at least 3 to 4 new songs per week, because maybe the fourth or fifth song is a song you already know. So that's at least 3 to 4 songs per week that you have to learn. For the average musician, you have a midweek practice, rehearsal or whatever, so that you have to go over these songs. That means you need to know these songs by the middle of the week. And you're working, you have a full-time job maybe or something like that, and you don't have the time to really sit with your bass for hours upon end trying to learn these songs. What do? Live with it as much as you can. All right, so if you're driving to a 9 to 5, put the song on, listen to the song. If you have an opportunity to put your ear pods or some headphones or something like that on your downtime, because you do have downtime. We all have some downtime somewhere. So put those headphones in your ear and just live with the song as much as you can and get it in your mind. All right. So what do we do after that? All right. Well, my next thing on the big number 2, get the big picture. What do I mean by getting a big picture? Where if you guys have been here for more than one lesson, I'm Jermaine Morgan, by the way, but if you've been here for more than one lesson, you know that I teach something called the 3 levels of learning. In my opinion, the 3 levels of learning helps you to get the big picture about the song. Why am I saying this? Because with the 3 levels of learning, level 1 is get the meat and potatoes of the song. That means get how the song is moving. All right, I'll give an example. So if the song, just like, we'll go like, keep it simple for like a CCM-ish type song. So if the song is going 1, 4, 5, or 1, 6, 5, 1, or something like that, a simple change. Like, well, let's put it in the key of G major. So we go 1, 6. We'll go 1, 6, 4, 5, 1, a really common progression. So maybe the rhythm of it is a little different, but that's the basic progression. So the meat and potatoes would be this: 1, 6 to the 4, 5, 1. That's the meat and potatoes, meaning I understand where the song is moving. It doesn't matter how they're moving in terms of right now at this level. It doesn't matter, well, the bass player did this little run. None of that matters. You want to basically get the song down to its simplest form. Be able to hear, okay, they're moving to the 6 right there. They're going to the 4 here. Okay, they're going to play the 2 right there. You want to get the song down to its simplest form. That's getting the big picture instead of worrying about all the fine details of it right away. Once I figure out it's going 1, 6, 4, 5, okay, now the next question, the second level of learning would be, okay, how are they moving from the 1, 6 to the 4, 5? Okay, so maybe they're going right? So instead of just going 1, 6, 4, 5, they're going 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 4, 2, 5. That's the second level of learning, is getting the how are they moving from that 1, 6, 2, 5, or whatever the progression is, getting the how. And sometimes your how may sound more like this. Right? And so now you can hear that's a little bit more movement, but we have stripped it all the way down with the meat and potatoes for level number one, and then level number two, we're seeing how they're doing it. So for the third level of learning, I like to say, usually that's the fine detail. And so that third level of learning is where you typically have room to play around. If you have your own vocabulary, that type of thing, that's usually where you have a little bit more wiggle room to play around because, as I was sharing with a student, that going to each progression or the fine detail of the song, usually that's where the bass player starts adding slight improvisation or adding his flavor. Some of you guys like to say you add your own thing, add your own flavor when you're going to that third level of learning. That's like different stuff like all that little extra stuff there. That might not be part of the bass line, but it's part of the fine detail that they added in the song to make it their own. Because it's one thing, like as a studio musician, I give you this from my own example. You get handed a track, right? And so with remote recording, a lot of times you don't have the producer sitting in the room with you. So they may give you, a good producer will oftentimes give you a demo of what they want the song to sound like. And maybe they'll have a scratch bass take that may be like a keyboard or something like that. And they'll tell you, okay, that's the outline, take it and do your thing. Sometimes the mistake that people make when they do that, if they don't really know you in a studio setting, they assume what you did on Sunday, you can do that in a studio setting. And some musicians don't know how to translate creativity to the red button, to their recording. So in that, you have to fine tune what your own sound is, what your own thing is to really figure out that. That's something for a whole nother lesson. But that's where that fine detail, in other words, come in on that level 3 of learning, because you now, once I got the foundation of where everything is, you have the meat and potatoes, you see the how, then the fine detail is going to be all the little extra stuff that makes the bass line special, right? In my opinion. Okay. All right. And so for the third level, or for the third tip rather, that's going to be repetition. Repetition. Something that's really, really simple, but it's often overlooked. Just getting it up under your hands, playing it over and over again. So let's go back to them. You've already lived with the music as much as you can, right? Now you strip it down, and that the second point in terms of getting the big picture with the 3 levels of learning, that's where you're going to spend most of your time at. And if you do that over and over again, you're going to get faster and faster with pretty much learning any song for that matter, getting the main thing. And the repetition, what the repetition allows you to do is you get to critique yourself in the repetition. You get to get it up under your hands, for lack of better words. Playing it over and over and over and over again, what's going to stand out to you each time you play it? Hopefully, you're listening with critical ears and you're improving and you're adjusting stuff every single time you play. Now, here's another thing I want to add to basically playing it, repetition or whatever. Play it as often as you can without stopping. I find a lot of musicians that stop, and I'm guilty of it. I used to do it as well. But when you're learning and playing through something, stopping and trying to fix this and then going back, and chances are when you practice like that, you create this thing where you're likely to mess up in that same spot. Not to say that you don't need to stop and work out something. That's not what I'm saying here. But you need to get under your hands of playing a song all the way through from start to finish and doing that often. Now, if you need to take sections of it and work out those sections, by all means, definitely do that. But the more you can get used to adjusting on the fly, hearing it in your mind is like, okay, I see that I messed up here. Making that mental adjustment in your head so the next time you come across it, I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about. So we're talking that 1, 6, 4, 5, right? We're talking that progression. So we'll take this. I'm going to play through it a few times, adding all of the stuff in there, but I'm going to try to create some mistakes in here so that I can correct those mistakes as I'm listening. And this would be you or myself learning a new song and trying to get it under my hands. All right. So. try to add that level 3 in there. Mistake right there. Let me try that again. Much cleaner. Here where I can improve that. So finding different variations. So I'm listening for this stuff as I'm adding, playing through this. If that were an actual song, I'm playing through it, and each time I'm playing through it, I'm trying to create a variation in my mind without losing the actual foundation of what's there. Because doing it over and over and over again and implementing ideas while I'm doing it over and over again and seeing like, well, what if I added this? And I'm doing that in real time. Because here's the thing. Here's why I say play, as far as the repetition, play through it often without stopping. Because when you get in a service, when you get on a gig, when you get anywhere that you're going to be performing that song, when they count it off, you're not stopping. We're not going to start this over in the middle of this performance. So you have to make sure that you get the reps of actually playing through the song, learning how to correct on the fly. You got to make sure in your own time that you get the reps of doing that. Because if your practices always consist of you stopping, fixing this, and starting back at the same spot and getting to the spot again, stopping, fixing that. Well, subconsciously, you're setting up in your mind that I always make a mistake when I get to this point. Rather than getting through it, the whole entire thing, making the mental note of where you messed up, going back to that spot, correcting whatever that was, adjusting it right there, and then move on, do it again. Same thing, where if you find a different spot in the song, you mess up, just go ahead and finish it. Come back to that spot. You want to make those mental notes in your mind, because that's the same thing I do when I have a performance or I'm playing at church or anything like that. I'm making the mental notes. Okay, I messed up on that section. So when I get an opportunity to sit down with this song again, I need to get a little tighter in that section right there, because I can't stop it right there in the middle of the service or in the middle of the performance. I just got to be mindful of it and learn how to recover well from my mistakes. That's the other thing. The repetition affords you the opportunity to get good at covering your mistakes, because they're going to happen. That's just like human nature. But being able to recover well in a live setting, especially, and you let it, like they say, you let it roll off your back like a duck, you know what I'm saying? Like water on a duck, let it roll off your back, and you don't show it on your face, you don't show it on your expression. But these are things, if you begin to implement these things now, I guarantee you learning songs is not going to be such a hassle, not going to be such a, oh man, I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like, and let me say this, let me throw this in there, because learning a CCM song or a contemporary Christian song, for lack of better words, or a pop song or something that's very, straight, 1-4-5 or something simple like that, versus learning a gospel or a jazz, something could be a night and day difference, right? But here's the difference in any type of genre that you're trying to learn. Getting the reps in on that genre makes it easier to be able to figure out these songs, be able to play through these songs. I can say that because I've covered multiple genres of music, being able to play all types of genres from CCM, from Christian, from, pop music to jazz to smooth jazz. And one of the things you begin to recognize as you play all of these different styles is patterns. They all have similarities, like, okay, you can kind of predict what's going to happen next. But it only comes through living with that music, learning the language. I'll leave with this. There was a student one time I was talking to, and I was talking to him. It's a concept that I often hear Victor Wooten talk about a lot, and I agree wholeheartedly with this particular idea in terms of, like, I have kids. And when my kids, before they could speak, they could hear us talking. They could hear the TV. They could hear conversation. We would often pull them in the room with us, or we're doing something together as a family. My wife and I are talking. We're saying words, and as that child, that baby, that toddler begins to develop communication skills, dad, dad, mama, they're saying all these different things, and then their communication skills are developing more and more as they're around you. And the next thing you know, they pop out and say something like, "Oh, that's ridiculous," and you're looking at them like, "Wait a minute. You can't even spell, let alone spell ridiculous. How do you know what that word means?" But the thing is, they've been allowed to sit and absorb and to take in all of these things and to hear it in context. And meanwhile, their little brains are recording this stuff that they're hearing, and they're looking for an opportunity to use this. The thing that happens with music and sometimes musicians is we're taking in a lot of theory. We want to learn all of the rules first. And then most of the time we're scared to implement, like saying that's ridiculous, because we don't want to sound like we don't know what we're talking about, instead of taking the chance and taking the risk of trying some of the things we've been hearing. That's the only way you get to know if it works or if it doesn't work. You have to try it. Got to jump outside of your comfort zone. Try to implement what you heard somebody else do. Don't say stuff like, "I'm not going to try that. I ain't going to even try that because I already know this." No, don't do that. Try to implement your "that's ridiculous" word in your playing, right? And then you'll begin to see the benefits of the things you've been listening to as you live with this music. And it will become easier and easier to learn almost any song. And so that in turn makes you a more well-rounded musician or bass player when these opportunities come up. Listen, that's pretty much it for this video. And if you guys are enjoying this stuff, be sure to give me a like and a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I always forget to say this stuff, but this helps this channel. It helps it to be seen by more people like you. And if you want more of this type of teaching, be sure to head over to JermaineMorgan.net. I got tons of courses and things that are geared towards helping you to grow and become better on your own instrument and to unlock your sound ultimately. Anyway, guys, thank y'all for rocking with me today. I will see you on the next video. Make sure that you're keeping up with everything that's happening here, because we're going to keep more content coming your way. All right, take care. Peace.